there was a big story in the Washington Post yesterday. As you know, for over a year, since the first revelations of Edward Snowden's whistleblowing, NSA officials have insisted that Edward Snowden only had access to reports about what the NSA was doing and what information they could glean, or basically their intercepts. They argued that he did not actually have access to the intercepts. So all his talk of, I can see the emails of, if I wanted to, I could see the emails of the president, or I could see emails of average United States citizens, was bunk, according to the NSA. This guy's just a narcissist. He's just self-aggrandizing. Well, this is going to come as a shock to everybody. It turns out they were lying.
Surprise, surprise.
Snowden provided the Washington Post with 22,000 intercepts containing, 22,000 intercept reports containing 160,000 individual intercepts. Apparently, the Post has spent months reviewing these files, and they estimate that 11% of the intercepted accounts, and by intercepted accounts, we mean the emails, the actual emails, the text messages, the seductive pictures of guys looking in the mirror and flexing their pecs and women in negligees. 160,000 individual intercepts. 11% of the intercept accounts belong to NSA targets, and the remaining 89% were incidental. And I'm using the word incidental loosely. It's really hard, I think, to justify the notion that your signal-to-noise ratio is that out of whack. Now, according to the Post, they found revelations about a secret overseas nuclear project, double dealing by an ostensible ally, a military calamity that befell an unfriendly power, and the identities of aggressive intruders into U.S. computer networks. However, the other 89%, which was described as useless by the analysts who were looking over them, were nonetheless retained. Now, it's quite clear. Yeah, I mean, it's useless information. However, these medical records, these resumes, maybe we should just keep them just in case.
Useless does not mean unintriguing.
The Post found that the agency standards for classifying someone as a foreigner could apply to tens of millions of Americans. It includes anyone who logs into an email account while traveling outside of the country or using proxy servers located outside the U.S. At least one subject was classified as foreign because the person communicated in a non-English language. According to the Post, these surveillance files tell stories of love and heartbreak, illicit sexual liaisons, mental health crises, political and religious conversions, financial anxieties, and disappointed hopes. Now, the funniest thing, and
those are just the tweets from this office.
No kidding. Right, exactly. The funniest thing about this is the arguments that in somehow Snowden has infringed upon all our civil liberties by informing the Post and proving to the Post, because that was really the issue, right? Proving to the Post that he had access to these documents. I will go back to what I said in the first weeks after these revelations. It is quite clear and almost obvious at this point that if Snowden had access to these things, other people did. And the idea that there wasn't someone who already had used this material in an illicit way is beyond belief. It took months, and maybe even to this day, because either the NSA was lying about Snowden having access to this material or simply did not realize it. And if they did not realize it, there is no reason to believe that they would realize that someone else who was perhaps selling this material to foreign governments, or just like, hey, Jim, my name is Steve. For $500, I will send you what your wife has been corresponding with your dentist. The point being that Snowden essentially has told everyone what he took, or at least has told journalists and the NSA, or to the extent that it's been revealed. It's not clear, and it should be, no one should have confidence that the NSA would be aware that other people hadn't taken similar stuff, but actually for other purposes rather than whistleblowing. And I guess the really embarrassing thing was the presidential's panel that was to look at the NSA. Liz Gautier, co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center for Justice. It appears that in the Snowden documents, the information is collected deliberately in far broader circumstances than what the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board discussed. They didn't even realize what he had access to. And despite the fact that the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board talked about major reforms, it's becoming clear that they probably weren't even aware of the full extent of the abuses. So I guess it's back to the drawing board for that presidential committee. It's stunning. I don't think it's getting as much attention, at least in the media, but it still seems that, at least in the context of Congress, there still seems to be some impetus for reform, but I don't know how much, frankly.
Not enough.
Not enough is right.